Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight in today, looking at something that can really, elevate your American holiday celebrations. Wine pairings.
Hmm.
We've gathered a lot of great information covering everything from the basics of why certain wines and foods click to very specific ideas for your big festive meals.
Yeah, and our goal really is to sort of boil all this down into practical, hopefully intriguing insights for you. Make those feasts even better.
Exactly. And central to this is the idea of wine harmonization. It sounds a bit fancy, maybe.
A little, but it's really just about how the wine and food interact.
Mhm.
It's not just having a drink alongside.
Right.
It's about how the wine can, say, highlight certain flavors or balance out richness, cleanse your palate between bites. It adds a whole other layer, really. Sophistication, maybe.
Absolutely. And American holiday food is just so varied, isn't it? Thanksgiving with the turkey and all the fixings is completely different from like a Fourth of July cookout.
Yeah. Totally different. Each one is a unique chance to explore different pairings. We'll hit Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, 4th of July. Even Halloween gets a look in.
Oh.
And look, wherever you are with wine, whether you're just starting or know quite a bit,
Mm,
we aim to keep this clear, engaging. Practical takeaways, that's the key. Not getting bogged down in
yeah.
jargon.
Yeah, the fun part is finding those pairings that just work for your celebration.
Exactly. Discovery.
Okay, let's really dig into Thanksgiving first. Such a huge holiday, harvest, family, and well, the food is just spectacular, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. That classic roasted turkey, the stuffing, the cranberry sauce, sweet and tart mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes.
So many ways to do sweet potatoes.
Right. And gravy, pumpkin pie. It's a real mosaic of flavors on one table.
It really is.
And that variety is what makes pairing tricky, but also interesting. You've got lean protein, rich stuffing, sweetness from cranberries and sweet potatoes. You need wines that are pretty adaptable.
Okay, so starting with white wines for Thanksgiving, Chardonnay often comes up. The advice seems to be medium bodied, maybe some oak. Why is that?
Well, a medium-bodied Chardonnay, especially with a bit of oak aging, gets this subtle creaminess, maybe vanilla notes, a hint of spice sometimes.
Ah,
And those things can really complement the turkey, the stuffing, especially gets buttery or herby. It works nicely with creamy mashed potatoes, too.
makes sense.
The caution, though, is not too much oak. You don't want those heavy, toasty flavors just bulldozing everything else.
Right, balance is key. What about Riesling? I hear that one mentioned a lot for Thanksgiving.
Riesling is incredibly versatile, partly because of its high natural acidity and partly because it runs the gamut from bone dry to quite sweet.
Hmm.
A dry Riesling gives you that singonize. That acidity cuts through richness, which is great, refreshing. But then a Riesling with a little bit of sweetness, that can be amazing with the cranberry sauce or sweet potatoes.
Oh, interesting. So it complements the sweetness.
Exactly. The wine sweetness matches the food sweetness, but the acidity keeps it all fresh, not, cloying.
Got it. Viognier is also on the list, maybe less familiar for some folks.
Yeah, possibly. Viognier generally has a fuller body than, say, Riesling, and these really pretty distinct aromatics. Think like floral honeysuckle, maybe, and stone fruits like peach or apricot.
Hmm.
Those aromas can be just lovely with the turkey, especially if it's got herbs or with side dishes that have subtle spices.
Okay. And Pinot Blanc, what's its role?
Pinot Blanc or Weissburgunder, you might see it called. It's a nice middle ground option. Medium body, good refreshing acidity. It's adaptable, plays well with lots of different things without being too loud itself. A solid choice.
Dependable. And the last white here is Gewürztraminer. That one definitely has a strong personality.
Absolutely. Gewürztraminer is known for those intense, almost exotic aromas, lychee, rose petals, sometimes ginger. It's bold. But that could be really intriguing if your Thanksgiving meal has dishes with stronger spices, maybe in the stuffing or sweet potatoes, or even just playing off the subtle sweetness of the turkey. It's definitely a more adventurous pick.
Okay, great range of white options there. But what if you're a red wine drinker? What are the top reds for Thanksgiving?
Pinot Noir is probably the #1 recommendation you'll see, and for good reason.
Right.
It's generally lighter in body, has great acidity for freshness, and those lovely red fruit notes, cherry, raspberry. It complements the turkey without overwhelming it.
And the tannins are important too, right?
Yes, exactly. Pinot Noir typically has softer tannins, those compounds that can feel drying in your mouth. Softer tannins make it really food-friendly with all those different Thanksgiving textures and flavors.
Okay. And Beaujolais from the Gamay grape is suggested as an alternative.
Yeah, absolutely. Beaujolais, especially if you go for one of the crus like Morgan or Fleury, they offer a similar vibe to Pinot Noir, fresh, bright red fruit, good acidity, often a bit more budget-friendly too. Really delicious.
Nice. Now, Zinfandel is listed, but
Yeah.
specifically light to medium bodied. Why that qualification?
Well, thinking about not overpowering the food,
Yeah.
right, a lighter Zinfandel with its ripe fruit and maybe a touch of spice like black pepper can work really well, especially with dishes that have a hint of sweetness or spice themselves.
Okay.
But those really big, high-alcohol, super jammies in Zinfandels, they can just stomp all over the delicate turkey and the other varied flavors. You want complement, not competition.
Makes total sense. What about rosé? Is there a place for pink wine at Thanksgiving?
Definitely. A good, dry, vibrant rosé is incredibly versatile. It's got that refreshing acidity, nice fruit notes, strawberry, maybe watermelon.
Mm.
Can be fantastic bridge wine if you have guests who prefer white and others who prefer red. Pairs surprisingly well with turkey, ham, lots of the sides.
Okay, let's zero in on some specific dishes. For the main event, the roasted turkey, what are the absolute top picks?
Pinot Noir keeps coming up for its subtlety and elegance. Beaujolais Blanc, that's actually a white wine from the Beaujolais region made from Chardonnay, is mentioned for freshness.
Oh, interesting.
And unoaked Chardonnay for its brighter fruit. And if you're feeling adventurous, a dry Riesling.
Gotcha. And stuffing, it can have so many different things in it.
Yeah, again, Pinot Noir's complexity seems to handle the herbs and savory notes well. A lightly oaked Chardonnay can also work, integrating with the richness and those herbal bits.
Cranberry sauce, always a point of discussion. Sweet, tart, what wine?
A Riesling with a touch of sweetness is the classic go-to. The acidity balances the sauce's sweetness, the wine's sweetness complements the fruit. Gewürztraminer is the more adventurous option with its aromatics, especially if the sauce has spices like cinnamon.
Okay. Mashed potatoes, simple creamy goodness.
You want something with medium body, good acidity. Chardonnay, oaked or unoaked, works. Lighter reds like Pinot Noir too, especially if the potatoes are really rich with butter or cream.
And dessert, the iconic pumpkin pie. What do we sip with that?
Classic choices are dessert wines. Riesling Auslese or Sauternes offer that sweetness balanced by acidity, matching the pie's richness and spice.
Mm-hmm.
Tawny port is another great one, with those nutty caramel notes. Or for something lighter, a demi-sec sparkling wine. The bubbles are nice too.
Fantastic. Okay, that covers Thanksgiving beautifully. Let's pivot to Christmas. It's celebrated everywhere, of course, but American Christmas meals can be quite varied. You see ham, roast beef, turkey again, sometimes seafood, plus all those rich desserts.
Right, that wider range of main courses compared to maybe a more traditional Thanksgiving really opens up the pairing possibilities even further. It's exciting.
So, white wines for Christmas, full-bodied Chardonnay gets mentioned. When is that the right call?
Well, a richer Chardonnay, maybe with those buttery notes from oak and good acidity, is just great with heartier Christmas fare. Think roasted ham, poultry, maybe dishes with creamy sauces. The wine's weight matches the food's richness.
Okay, and aged Semillon, that sounds quite specific.
It is, and it's a real treat if you can find it. As Semillon ages, it develops this amazing complexity, honey. Toasted nuts, maybe marmalade notes.
Wow.
It makes it a brilliant pairing for spiced poultry or dishes with fruit components because the wine's complexity echoes those flavors.
Sparkling wine feels very Christmassy. Brut and demi-sec are both mentioned. How would you use them differently?
Good question. Brut, being dry with high acidity and lots of bubbles, is super versatile, great as an aperitif to kick things off, but also pairs well with lighter dishes, seafood especially.
Right.
Demi-sec has that noticeable touch of sweetness, so that makes it lovely with, say, a glazed ham that has some sweetness, or even with fruitier Christmas desserts.
Moving to Christmas reds, seems like we get into some bigger wines here. Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes, Cabernet Sauvignon. It's got structure, those noticeable tannins we talked about, dark fruit like cassis. It's a classic partner for roast beef. It has the power to stand up to that rich, flavorful meat.
Okay. And Merlot, how does that fit in?
Merlot generally has softer tannins than Cabernet. Still lovely, red and black fruit, but often smoother, more approachable maybe. That makes it really versatile for Christmas. Good with poultry, good with ham. A crowd pleaser often.
Syrah or Shiraz, depending on where it's from. What's its contribution?
Syrah Shiraz often brings intensity, and spiced black pepper is common, sometimes smoky notes. So it's excellent with Christmas dishes that are maybe more heavily seasoned or spiced. It enhances those savory elements.
And Pinot Noir pops up again for Christmas?
Okay.
Still mainly for turkey?
It's certainly great with turkey, yes, but its elegance and finesse also make it a really refined choice for other Christmas dishes too.
Mm.
Maybe roast duck or goose, or even some lighter meat dishes. It's versatile in its own way.
Okay. And Christmas desserts are often quite decadent. What about dessert wines?
Oh, lots of great options. Port is a holiday classic. Tawny port, aged in wood, gets nutty and caramel-like, perfect with fruitcake or nut tarts.
Mm.
Vintage port is aged less in wood, more in bottle, so it keeps more intense fruit, great with rich chocolate desserts.
Right.
Sauternes from France, that famous sweet line, is super complex, honeyed amazing with foie gras, if you're doing that,
Yeah.
or just elegant desserts.
Mm.
Riesling Auslese or Beeren Auslese from Germany, sweet, but with that balancing acidity, lovely with fruit desserts.
Lots of choices.
And then there's Pedro's Menes, PX Sherry from Spain.
Hmm.
It's incredibly sweet, like liquid raisins or molasses, amazing with dark chocolate or even blue cheese.
Wow. Okay, let's get specific again. Traditional Christmas turkey. Seems like the advice is similar to Thanksgiving, Pinot Noir, Beaujolais, maybe lightly oaked Chardonnay.
That's right. Those wines just have the right weight and flavor profile to complement turkey nicely.
What about roasted ham? That's hugely popular for Christmas.
For ham, Merlot's softer fruit is a good fit. A slightly sweet Zinfandel can work, especially with a sweet glaze. A slightly sweet Riesling offers a nice contrast to the saltiness. And that demi-sec sparkling we mentioned is great too, cleanses the palate.
And if you're having roast beef?
Then you want something with a bit more heft. Cabernet Sauvignon structure is ideal, or Syrah, with its spicy intensity, can also stand up really well to the beef.
What about seafood at Christmas? Seems more common now.
Yeah, for seafood, think lighter, brighter wines. Brut sparkling is always a good shout, that acidity is key. Sauvignon Blanc's freshness works well, or an unoaked Chardonnay for its subtlety. You don't want to overwhelm delicate fish.
Okay, let's roll into the new year. Often means festive brunches, right? Lighter food, maybe some snacks.
Exactly. And New Year's Day, it's all about celebration, so sparkling wine really comes to the forefront. Plus, brunch food generally calls for fresher wine styles.
Right, not too heavy. So sparkling for brunch, Brut, Prosecco, Cava are highlighted. What's the difference in how they work with brunch food?
Okay, so Brut, as we said, is the driest, generally most versatile. High acidity cuts through richness, great with eggs, pastries, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
Prosecco tends to be fruitier apple, pear notes, softer acidity, maybe a touch sweeter, perfect for toasts, or with lighter, maybe sweeter things like fruit salad or pancakes. Cava, made like champagne, often has a bit more complexity citrus, maybe toasty notes, and good acidity. It can handle a wider range of appetizers and more flavorful brunch dishes.
What about still white wines for brunch? Any standouts?
Definitely. Sauvignon Blanc with those zesty citrus and sometimes grassy notes is lovely with salads, goat, cheese, anything fresh and green.
Nice.
Pinot Grigio or Pinot Gris light, crisp, subtle fruit like pear is great for really delicate things, light appetizers, maybe some simple seafood.
And dry rosé gets another mention. Seems like it's good for everything. Why brunch specifically?
Huh. It is pretty versatile. For brunch, its acidity is great for cutting through richer things like quiche or bacon, but the fruitiness also works well with fruit salads or pastries. It just covers a lot of bases.
Okay, specific brunch pairings. Eggs Benedict classic, rich. What works?
That rich hollandaise sauce needs acidity. So boot sparkling is perfect, cleanses the palate. An unoaked Chardonnay with good citrus notes could also work nicely.
Pancakes or waffles? Sweet or savory?
If they're sweet, with syrup and fruit, that demi-sec sparkling with its touch of sweetness is ideal. If they're savory, maybe with cheese or herbs, then Brut sparkling provides a nice contrast.
Bacon and sausage. Salty, rich brunch staples.
Again, Brut sparkling, the acidity just cuts right through that richness and saltiness. A dry rosé is also a great choice here. That fruit and acidity offer a nice counterpoint.
Lighter fare, like fruit salads.
Demi-sec sparkling again, the sweetness complements the fruit. Or Moscato d'Asti, lower alcohol. Definitely sweet, lovely floral notes. Really nice and light.
And for all those little canapes and snacks at a New Year's gathering.
That's where the sparkling wines, Brut, Prosecco, Cava, really shine. Just so versatile. Sauvignon Blanc is great for veggie or fresh cheese things. Pinot Grigio for more delicate bites. And dry rosé, again, handles a huge range. Hard to go wrong.
Okay, let's shift gears to February. Valentine's Day. Romance, indulgence, often special foods.
Yeah, Valentine's is about creating a mood, often with richer foods. Chocolate, red fruit desserts, maybe lobster or steak. The wine should feel special too.
So sensual red wines, Pinot Noir and Merlot are suggested. Why them?
Well, Pinot Noir has that elegance, those lovely red fruit notes. It's great for more subtle dishes where the wine can really be appreciated,
Mm-hmm.
feels refined.
Mm-hmm.
Merlot, with its softer tannins and dark fruit, is smooth, inviting, pairs well with lots of things. It just feels uh, comfortable and maybe a bit luxurious,
Mm.
appropriate for romance, perhaps.
And elegant white wines?
Moscato d'Asti comes up again. That light sweetness, the aromatics, the gentle bubbles, it's perfect with fruit desserts. Feels celebratory but not heavy.
Okay.
Sweet Riesling, too, that balance of sweetness and acidity is great for fruity desserts or even provides a surprising, delicious contrast to blue cheese if you're doing a cheese course.
Delicate roses feel like a natural fit for Valentine's, too.
They really do. That refreshing quality, the pretty red fruit aromas, strawberry, raspberry lovely with light starters, seafood, adds a touch of elegance, doesn't it?
Definitely. And the big one for Valentine's, chocolate. What wines make the ultimate pairing?
Ah, chocolate. You need wines with some richness and complexity. Port is a classic. Ruby or LBV port have dark fruit and often chocolatey notes themselves.
Right.
PX Sherry, that super sweet one, is incredible with dark chocolate especially. Intense raisin, molasses flavors.
Wow.
And from France, Banyuls or Mori, they're fortified wines with rich fruit and spice. More nuanced maybe, great with chocolate, also interesting with blue cheese.
Okay, moving into summer. 4th of July. Barbecues, picnics, outdoors. Classic American stuff.
Yep, 4th of July is all about smoky flavors from the grill, plus refreshing sides, casual, celebratory, usually warm weather. Wine choices should match that vibe.
So robust reds for BBQ. Zinfandel, Malbec, Syrah Shiraz. What do they bring to the party?
Zinfandel, especially a full-bodied, spicy one, is kind of the quintessential BBQ red, isn't it? Ripe fruit, peppery notes, stands up to smoke and sauce.
True.
Malbec is a great alternative. Juicy dark fruit, softer tannins, usually very crowd-pleasing. And Syrah, or Shiraz, with those peppery, sometimes smoky notes, just complements grilled meats and bold BBQ sauces perfectly.
And rosé again. Seems essential for summer BBQs.
Absolutely. It's refreshing. The acidity cuts through richness. The fruitiness is great with grilled chicken, fish, salads. Just works so well outdoors in the heat.
What about white wines for a hot July day?
Sauvignon Blanc is a star. Zesty citrus, herbaceous notes, fantastic with salads, grilled veggies, really crisp and refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Pinot Grigio is another good option. Light, easy drinking, doesn't demand too much attention, just quenches your thirst. Good with lighter grilled items.
And the sources even give a nod to craft beer.
Yeah, and rightly so. Beer and BBQ can be an amazing match. So many styles to play with. A hoppy IPA cuts through fatty meats. A smoky porter can echo the grill flavors. Lots of fun to experiment there, too.
Definitely. Okay, last holiday stop. Halloween. Fun, spooky, and lots of sugar.
Yes, Halloween is unique. The focus is so much on candy, chocolate, maybe pumpkin pie again, caramel apples. It's a playful pairing challenge.
So what kind of wines could possibly work with all that candy? Fruity, easy drinking reds are suggested.
Yeah, something like a light Beaujolais. Bright red fruit, low tannins. It can actually cleanse your palate a bit between sweets without adding more heaviness. Dolcetto from Italy is similar, fruity, soft tannins. Keep it simple.
What about slightly sweet white wines?
Could work. A slightly sweet Riesling, like a German Cabinet or Spätlese, has that balance of acidity and sweetness, cuts the sugar, complements some fruitier candies.
Okay.
A slightly sweet Gewürztraminer with its strong aromatics might be interesting with candies that have exotic or spicy notes. Think like tropical fruit or ginger flavors.
And for desserts like pumpkin pie at Halloween.
Similar to Thanksgiving, really. Dessert wines with some sweetness and maybe spice notes could work well, creating those nice harmonies with the pie's flavors.
Okay. And just quickly, other holidays like Memorial Day, Labor Day, often outdoor gatherings too.
Right. Similar vibe to 4th of July, often. Barbecues, picnics. So versatile wines are key. Rosé, Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Grigio, sparkling wines, maybe lighter reds like Pinot Noir or Gamay. Things that work with a variety of foods in a relaxed setting.
Wow, this has been like quite the journey through the holiday calendar and wine pairings.
Yeah.
It really feels like the main takeaway is, yes, there are guidelines and great suggestions, but the real fun is in trying things out and finding what you like best.
Absolutely. That's the heart of it. These ideas we've talked about, they're a great starting point, a map maybe, but your own palate is the ultimate guide. The best pairing is the one that makes you happy and makes the meal better for you. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Totally agree. So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. Thinking about these pairings isn't just for making your holidays tastier, although that's great.
Right.
It can actually enrich your everyday meals too, deepen your whole appreciation for how food and wine can play together in really cool ways.
Well said. It opens up a whole new dimension to enjoying food. So here's to happy holidays, everyone, and even happier pairings.